Hey everyone, imagine this. You're walking through a small Irish village on the west coast. The wind is blowing, the hills are green, and suddenly you spot someone with jet black hair, pale skin, and eyes as blue as the ocean. People have a name for folks who look like that. They call them the Black Irish. For hundreds of years, the story has always been the same. People said these dark-haired Irish men and women were the descendants of handsome Spanish sailors who survived the famous Spanish Armada shipwrecks back in 1588. The sailors supposedly swam to shore, fell in love with Irish women, and that's how the black hair came into Ireland. It's a romantic story. It sounds exciting, it feels like a movie. But here's the truth. Modern science and ancient DNA have looked into this mystery very carefully, and they say that popular story is probably not true. So where did the Black Irish look actually come from? The real answer is much older, much bigger, and way more surprising than a few shipwrecked sailors. In this video, we're going to bust the old myth and discover the true story hidden inside Irish DNA. A story that goes back thousands of years. If you've ever wondered why some Irish people have such dark hair while others are redheads and blondes, stick around. You're about to find out the real mystery behind the Black Irish. Section 1. What does Black Irish actually mean? So let's start with the basics. When people say Black Irish, they're not talking about skin color. They're not saying someone is black or African. That's a common misunderstanding. The term Black Irish is an old nickname that mainly refers to Irish people who have very dark hair, usually jet black or deep dark brown, while having fair or pale skin and often bright blue, green, or gray eyes. It's the strong contrast that stands out. In a country famous for red hair and freckles, these dark-haired Irish people always seemed a little different. You'll hear this term more from Irish people living abroad, in America, Canada, Australia, than from people actually living in Ireland. Inside Ireland, most people just call it dark Irish or don't think much about it. And here's something important. It's not rare. You can find Black Irish features all across Ireland, but they tend to show up more often in the west and southwest. Places like County Kerry, Cork, Galway, and Connemara. Now the big question everyone always asks is this. Where did this dark hair come from? Is it really from Spanish sailors, or is the truth something completely different? That's exactly what we're going to explore next. Section 2. The popular myths and legends. For a very long time, people believed they knew exactly where the Black Irish look came from. The most famous story is about the Spanish Armada. Back in 1588, Spain sent a huge fleet of ships to attack England. But things went badly wrong. The ships got caught in terrible storms, and many of them were wrecked along the west coast of Ireland. Hundreds of Spanish sailors washed up on Irish shores. According to the legend, the local Irish people took them in. Some of the sailors survived, settled down, married Irish women, and had children. And that, people said, is how the jet black hair entered Irish bloodlines. It's a beautiful, romantic tale. Handsome Spanish soldiers with dark hair and dark eyes mixing with fair Irish girls. It sounds like something from an old movie or a novel. Over the years, other stories popped up too. Some people blamed the Vikings. Others pointed to the Normans who invaded Ireland. A few even claimed it came from ancient traders from Spain or North Africa who visited Ireland thousands of years ago. These legends became so popular that many families with dark hair grew up believing they had a bit of Spanish blood running through their veins. It made sense to a lot of people. After all, how else do you explain dark hair in a country known for redheads and blondes? But as nice as these stories are, modern science has taken a very close look at them. And what they found is surprising. Section 3. Busting the myths with modern science. So, is the Spanish Armada story actually true? Scientists decided to find out. They studied the DNA of thousands of Irish people. They also looked at ancient bones from Ireland that are thousands of years old. And here's what they discovered. The Spanish Armada theory doesn't hold up. Yes, some ships did wreck in 1588, but only a few thousand sailors reached the shore. Most of them were killed, captured, or sent back home. Very few stayed and had families in Ireland. When researchers checked modern Irish DNA, they found almost no special Spanish genetic signal from that time. There's no big spike or mark left behind by those shipwrecked sailors. The same goes for the other stories. The Vikings and Normans did come to Ireland, but they didn't bring enough dark-haired genes to explain what we see today. In fact, many Vikings actually had lighter features, so if it's not the Spanish sailors, and it's not the Vikings or Normans, then where did the Black Irish look really come from? The answer is much older than anyone thought. Thanks to new technology that can read ancient DNA, scientists have traced it back thousands of years, all the way to the very first people who lived in Ireland and the big migrations that followed. The real story isn't about one dramatic shipwreck. It's about massive waves of people who arrived in Ireland long before the Spanish Armada even existed. Section 4. The real story. Ancient DNA and Ireland's population waves. Scientists have now read the DNA from very old bones found in Ireland. These bones tell us that Ireland's people were built in 3 big waves. First, more than 10,000 years ago, the very first humans arrived after the Ice Age. These early hunter-gatherers probably had dark skin and bright blue eyes. Then, around 6,000 years ago, new people came from the east. These were farmers who brought cattle, wheat, and pottery with them. Many of them traveled along the Mediterranean and up from what is now Spain and Portugal. These farmers tended to have darker hair and eyes. A lot of the Black Irish look we see today started with these early farmers. But the biggest change happened about 4,000 to 4,500 years ago. A new group of people swept across Ireland. Scientists call them the Bell Beaker people. They came from the European grasslands and brought bronze tools and new ways of living. When they arrived, they replaced most of the earlier population. In some parts of Ireland, over 90% of the old DNA disappeared. The people who live in Ireland today are mostly a mix of those early farmers and these Bell Beaker newcomers. Here's the key part. The dark hair likely came from the ancient farmers. The light eyes and pale skin came from the Bell Beaker people. When these two groups mixed, some families ended up with that beautiful combination: jet black hair, fair skin, and bright blue or green eyes. This mix has stayed strong in Western Ireland for thousands of years because of how small and isolated some communities were. So the Black Irish look isn't from a few Spanish sailors in 1588. It's much older. It's one of the original Irish looks, going back over 4,000 years. Section 5. Why the mystery persists and modern implications. So why did the Spanish Armada story stay popular for so long? Because it was a great story. It was romantic, it felt exciting, and it gave people a simple way to explain why some Irish families looked different from the red-haired stereotype. But the real story is actually more interesting. The Black Irish look isn't something foreign that arrived recently. It's deeply Irish, part of the ancient mix that built the Irish people thousands of years ago. Many families with dark hair today are just as Irish as those with red hair. In some cases, their roots go even deeper, back to those early farmers who first brought agriculture to Ireland. Science has shown us that Ireland's population changed dramatically over time. Almost the entire island was replaced during the Bronze Age. Traits like dark hair survived through luck, isolation, and small family groups in the West. Today, this matters because DNA is rewriting what we thought we knew about history. One shipwreck story can sound nice, but the truth, ancient migrations, massive population changes, and genetic mixing, is far more amazing. So next time someone tells you they're Black Irish and jokes about Spanish blood, you can smile and say the real story is much older and much cooler. Conclusion. The true mystery of the Black Irish isn't a dramatic shipwreck in 1588. It's an epic story that stretches back over 4,000 years. To ancient farmers, massive migrations, and the mixing of people who helped shape Ireland long before the Spanish Armada ever existed. Science didn't ruin the romance. It made it even deeper and older than we ever imagined. So the next time you meet someone with jet black hair, pale skin, and those bright Irish eyes, remember this. Their look isn't from a few sailors who got lost at sea. It's one of the original Irish looks, carried through thousands of years of history and still alive today. That's the real magic of the Black Irish DNA. If this video helped you see the story in a new way, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into history, genetics, and hidden mysteries. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you have Black Irish features in your family? Have you done a DNA test? What surprised you the most in this video? I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your story. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.